Hi there. Today I'm going to take you through 5 exercises that you'll want to practice at least 3 times a week. These 5 exercises will really help with your hip strength, whether you're a golfer, tennis player, hiker, biker, or just a person who wants a stronger foundation in their core, meaning their hips. So the core is a lot of things, and the hips are part of it. You're going to lay on your side, and you're going to have your knees at about 45-degree angle. So you don't want to be at 90 degrees. You want an angle here. And then you're going to take your top leg and you're going to push out. You're going to push out here. So you're pushing through your heel, knee, hip as an alignment, and you're getting a lift of the rib cage off the floor. What I want, and I'll say this several times through the session, avoid dropping the ribs. You want to keep the ribs lifted and the hips lined up. So that's your alignment check right there. Once you push out, you bring the knees back in and you don't drop the ribs. You have 2 options. You can press your fingertips down on the floor to keep you upright, or you can reach your arms to the sky. Today I'm going to do this. It's a little more challenging, but I'll tell you what, it really helps to lift the ribs. So here's our first exercise, clamshells. We're going to open the knee and come back down. Now, when it comes to reps, I'm all about quality versus quantity. So you take your time, and when you come up there, see if you can't find it in range, and then you come back in. Exhale all your out. And I'm exaggerating the sound of my breath, but I want you to really exaggerate the breath out. And you should feel that external rotation of your femur, your thigh bone in the sockets. The heels are touching together, but the knees can part. 2 more of these. Stretch that arm out, keep the ribs lifted off the ground. Now, you've got 1 more, and then we're going to reverse it. We're going to work on internal rotation. Hips still stacked, and we're bringing the foot up. Now, this is internal rotation here as opposed to what we just got done doing. The biggest problem people have is that they roll their hips forward when they're doing this exercise, or they drop the ribs. So ribs up, and you're turning the bone in. Keep your hand on the hip if that helps you to keep your hips stacked without rolling the top hip forward. And breathe out. Just like the first exercise, up on that end range of the rotation. It's not my foot that's really doing the work, it's my thigh bone that's turning in that socket. Let's go for 3 more of these. And 2. And 1. Now, see where my foot is? We're going to lift the knee up to join it. Hip, knee, foot in alignment. From here, we're going to work on more internal rotation. Always come back to that parallel place and then turn. Avoid dropping the knee. You're simply turning the thigh bone in the hip socket. And avoid also the hip rolling forward. You're going to feel the ribs off the ground, and remember the end range of the breath. All the air out. Shouldn't be breathing up, hyperventilating here. It's a breath in and a breath out. Full breath. 2 more, and 1 more. Now, with my knee in this angle, I'm going to bring it in front of the bottom knee, and then I'm going to push back. I'm literally making an angle here. I'm going to show you from this range so you see it. I bring the knee in and I push back behind my hip. Okay? Go back to this place. Forward and push back. Keep the hips stacked. I don't want the hips to come forward. You're not dropping and lifting. It's an angle of the thigh bone pushing back. You should be feeling this, guys, because I'll tell you what, I sure am. Exhale, put up the fire in your glute. Let's go for 5 more of these. Now, there's no one saying you have to touch the knee to the floor. You just bring the knee in front of the bottom knee. Yeah, but the most important thing is you bring that thigh bone behind the hip bone. 3 more. Exhale, push out. Abs are braced. Shoulders are stacked. And last 2. Now, Last exercise here. We're going to keep the legs straight out behind the hip and you lift. Check in with your ribs. Make sure they're lifted off the floor and you breathe out. 6, 5, 4, I'm counting because these are killer. 3, God forbid I do more than 10. Last one. And then bring in release. So to recap, we did external, internal, lift a parallel to internal. We did angle, hip extension, and then little pulses. That was 5 exercises. Of course, you'll do that on the other side. If you find one side is weaker, repeat that. So for me, my right side's much stronger than the left, so I would do left, right, left. Do what works for you, but the point is just do it. It doesn't take that long to do, and at least 3 to 5 times a week will be amazing for hip strength, glute strength. It will really help with your lower back if you have any lower back issues too. Okay, that's all for now. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.